Chiefs rookie class is ready to roll, and they are explosive, but just how explosive are they, and what can we expect after a first really brief look at them? We're going to get into that, as well as all of your questions tonight on RGR Football. Welcome back, friends and neighbors. Different confines today. My house is being looked at, so there's people, prospective buyers, doing some stuff. So we had to move the location tonight, a little bit different, but that's okay. We're going to get through all your questions anyway, especially because there's so many Chiefs that have joined the ranks, and they're looking, I think, actually better than expected, particularly in some that I think you guys are really looking forward to talking about. Hello to everyone. Thanks to Liz Morrow, our new fearless moderator instead of her husband. She'll be here manning the shop. Thank you, Liz. I appreciate it very much. It's nice to have somebody from Rogue Nation on. Stevie Keys is on, so we have the Rogue Nation represented a couple of times. Maybe we'll even get Gooch. Who knows? Hello to Holly and Night Hunter and Jake. A lot of regulars. Terry, Holly Mitchell's here. Nice to see you. We're going to go through all of your questions and talk a little bit about just the glimpses that we've gotten so far. But when you put together what we've seen on the field to this point and what they've said in pressers, you start to get a little bit of an image about the rookie class. I'm going to do some quick hits this week on that. I'll have some film later. Dan's on vacation, so you're getting an overdose of me. I hope you guys are ready for it. I'm going to start stacking some questions in here now. I hope you're all doing well. If you want to support the channel, the Super Chats are an easy way to do it. If you do decide to donate to us through the Super Chat, make sure you ask a question. Put some question marks at the beginning of it. If you're not Super Chatting, that will help me find it, especially because I'm going to be struggling a little bit here with a small screen tonight, so it's going to be interesting. The Super Chats are great. The Rogue store, the RGR store, has all the Rogue stuff, all the Reaper stuff, all the gear that you want. I will have some new things for the RGR 33, the NFL 33 that we just started. Just before we get rolling, I'd love to see your comments in the live chat. What did you guys think of EJ? He's our newest film analyst. He's going to be working with us on NFL 33 as well as Rogue Analytics in our film section. We're going to be doing more there, and I'm pretty excited about building out our crew. We've got some other things that are probably coming along as well. Thank you, Liz. If you guys would like this video, if you would sub to the channel and hit that bell for notifications, that would help everything, especially for us, but also for you, so you get notices of when we go live or when we do something new. Every video gets notified, so you know when it's up. The lives are on a schedule on Mondays and Thursdays. Sundays are generally the same, all at 6 p.m. Central. Try to keep that steady throughout the week, and especially in the off season when we have more to cover, really, we're going to keep that schedule so that everybody knows when it is and we can all get together at the same time. If you want to join the memberships, those are open as well. I'd love to have more of you. And if you join at the rookie level or above, that's how you get into the Discord. It is Rogue Nation that Stevie and Gooch and Aaron built, along with FLDP, a lot of help from him, and a couple others as well. I did the least of it because I'm not familiar with Discord. I'm busy producing video, so that's kind of the difference for me. But those guys have done a heck of a job. It's a cool community, and I think you guys will dig it. If you want to join, just join the memberships here at the $15 level, the rookie level, and send me an email here at this address, because that's the easiest way to do it. And if you go over to NFL 33, that's the Substack, and subscribe there. You can do the free one. If you do the paid one, you get all my articles and all my detailed team building stuff. And this site is about the rest of the league. It's not Chiefs specific. It is about how the league is functioning, what the Chiefs can do within it. So it still has some of their content, but it's not Chiefs specific. I just want everybody to know that. I'm not trying to like Dipsy do anybody here. So I'm stacking up some questions. You guys got some good ones so far. I'm loving it. And then we'll get into it here in a second. Now, I wanted to make the thumbnail explosive because the two guys on it, and McDuffie and Karlaftis, are clearly the biggest investment they've made in the defense in terms of the draft in quite a while. So they better be explosive, and they better bring that. And I think so far we should be very, very happy with everything we've seen so far. Now, I know you guys are going to remember that I had Karlaftis in the 50s. Not a problem that he was taken in the 30s. It's about how you maximize what he brings to the table. I'm sure we'll have questions about that. But that doesn't mean that he can't play. It just means that I probably wouldn't have spent 30 on him. I would have looked to get 50, but he may not have been there, so that's perfectly legit to do what they did. And now I'm really interested to see how they use him, because the kid's motor has never been in question. It's my favorite thing about him. I like his first step too. It's the acceleration beyond that. He's got a good 10, but if he has to chase the quarterback too long, it gets difficult. So how can they maximize his hands and that first step and make him as explosive as possible? He's got good leaps. Like physically, he's capable of doing that. It's about recognition. It's about anticipation of the snap. It's about understanding what's going on around you. And that's what they're just going to have to, they're going to have to force feed him and coach him up. Sorry, I jumped on that one, Stevie. I was trying to put a star on it so that I can come back to it here in the question stack, because now we have some good questions. But hey, really, really happy. Oh, that's awesome. So yeah, you guys, Stevie Gooch and Aaron have a new channel. Stevie, drop that in the live chat so I can put it on the screen for everybody too. You guys want to check them out. They're doing their own thing a little bit. Don't worry. The huddle will still be here. You'll still see the guys, but they're going to do their own thing as well. So you need to go sub to them. Let's see. And let me know when that pops up, Stevie. In the meantime, let's take a look at the first question from Christo. What three running backs do you see making the 53? First, I think there's going to be 4. And I think it is going to be CEH, Rojo, Gore, and Pacheco. Pacheco, however we're saying that, we'll get that nailed down. I didn't see his presser yet, so I'm not sure how he pronounces his own name. When I hear him say it, then I'll know for certain how to do that. But much like they did last year, I think they probably have to carry 4 initially, because you got to expect some attrition. That position has never stayed healthy for the Chiefs, so you got to take that with a big grain of salt. Let's see who's next. Zach, what's your opinion on Najee Johnson's athleticism? He's quick twitch. He's got good straight line speed. I didn't have him in my matrix. I had to go pull his pro day numbers, and his change of direction is pretty good too. It's not elite, but it's very good. So athletically, he looks like he has the 2 things that nickel corners need. He can change direction to stay with routes, and he has the long speed to either catch up if he has to recover, or if he's playing trail, or to stay in phase with the faster receivers, especially in the AFC West. That's what's going to be important. And I know, I believe he said that they were working him a little bit at strong safety as well. I think he's a nickel all day long when it's all boiled down. This next couple of weeks, this is phase 2 of offseason activities. Rookie minicamp, phase 2. I think they're going to try a bunch of guys out at a bunch of different places, including Najee. And we'll see where he ends up, but I'm betting it's going to be the nickel spot, and that's okay. You got to have a backup for Snead, and you got to have the ability, if one of the outside corners goes down and Snead has to play outside full time, you got to have another corner that can come in and play the nickel competently. I thought it was really interesting too that they said that they were putting McDuffie in there some as well, outside and nickel. Nazee's learning nickel and strong safety, so you're piling that on. Part of rookie minicamp is a test to see how much these guys can learn in a weekend. So that's part of multiple positions, but they also want to get a look at what they can do with it. So Teddy, thank you for the support. Appreciate you. Should we be worried about Sky's hammy, and is Ross the steal of all steals? I don't think there's anything to worry about with Sky's hamstring. This is not a Sammy Watkins kind of situation. I'm not concerned with it. I would love if he were fully healthy, but we heard some of that during the pre-draft process, that he had little tweak of it. He still was able to do some testing and stuff, so I'm not too concerned. I think they're just being cautious. And honestly, it's as much mental right now as it is anything. We know he can run, so it's about learning his roles. And as far as Ross, I wasn't able to get a hold of any footage, but people that I've talked to that have seen the practice put him – the word that I keep hearing is smooth, and I love that. It definitely feeds in and matches up with what I saw in college, so I'm comfortable with that. It's just not explosive, and that could be the foot. It could be, the whole neck. When you hurt something up here in your neck, it affects your whole body in terms of your neurology and how you fire your muscles and how much electrical stimulus you give your body in order to do things. That could be a lingering effect that takes years to come back. But it's also the fact that he's just out of shape. Andy said that he was knocking rust off just in basic route kind of work. So that's just a lack of volume and shutting it down early last season. He didn't play a full season. So I think that's just part of it. But if he works out, he would be one of the biggest steals. He and Kennard are going to battle for the biggest steal of this draft, and they'll be right there with Trey from last year. But you also have to remember he has 2 cervical, neck, spine injuries. That's not something longevity that you can project very well. So let's hope that he gets back healthy and he can make a splash. I don't know how long of a career or second contract we're talking about, but we'll get there when we get there. Either way, he could be the steal of all steals, as you said, Teddy. Thanks, Seelich, Clutch. I'll take that. Question, should the Chiefs try and trade for Daron Payne? I heard that that's a possibility in terms of Payne being, not necessarily locked down. I don't think the Chiefs should try to do that. He's, 2 years into his contract? That's still another huge payday coming. I'm not sure he plays exactly as athletically as they want either. He could, but I'm guessing they probably pass on that. Dre, how much would signing Bradbury help our secondary? Right now, it's questionable. With Lonnie Johnson here, I don't know. It's difficult. Bradbury played better in zone than he did in man last year. Jalen Watson has said that, and I think Williams did as well, that they're practicing a lot of man. I don't know that they want to go more zone. I thought maybe they did when they were talking heavy on Bradbury and the McDuffie signing, but McDuffie can do everything, so he can't really be like the thing that steers our rudder. So yes, it would help in terms of experience, but we're running out of spots to put him. I think, honestly, the Lonnie Johnson trade probably put the kibosh on Bradbury. Jeremy, hope you're well. Is he worth a look or stick with the youth? I think they're going to stick with the youth. I mean, you could always have him in for a tryout. If he looks better than Johnson does, then maybe you have to make a decision. Maybe you bring him into camp and you just let them all battle it out. Problem is then you're probably looking at a draft pick that doesn't make the roster. And I'm not sure if monetarily they're looking at. The whole thing is going to come down to, the Chiefs have $14 million in cap. That's it. And they haven't even signed the whole class yet. So he'd have to take kind of a low-end deal, and I'm not sure he's looking to do that. That's the problem. Let's see. Terry, and thank you, Jeremy. Appreciate you. Who would you like to play in our first game? I haven't seen the schedule yet. I know it hasn't been fully released yet. Hang on. Oh, didn't mean to hit that. Meant to hit a star. I don't really care. I would like to see them get somebody that made the adaptation that a lot of the league did last year and play a lot of zone. I want to see Patrick just hit the ground running against, the heavy zone teams that he's going to have to decipher more without Tyreek. So I would like to see that early and maybe help him get a jump start on making those changes. Here's Stevie Gooch and Aaron. Back discussions. That would be Brian, Aaron, and Keys, I'm guessing. I don't know. Cool. Rock and roll. So, guys, go check out that channel. Make sure you get subbed to that as well. Meant to star that one. Sorry. Let me put Keys back up there. And I'm stacking up some more here. And another. And let's get back in. Oh, wait, no. Oh, it just reloaded and I got a lot more. So while you guys are going over to sub to Keys, Aaron, and Gooch's new thing called Back Discussions, remember that all this is like day one. And I was guilty of overreacting to how much they gave Noah Gray last OTAs. I'm not going to do that this time. In fact, I might even be the anchor here. I'm going to resist overreacting, because if Ross could get back to even 85% of what he was his freshman year in college, it's all over, folks. It's the best wide receiver core in football, and it's not particularly close. So I'm going to try to hold off expectation for a bit. Excuse me, I got a bit of a cold going. But let's get back to the questions. Jake, thank you very much. Always supporting the channel. I appreciate it. Karlaftis got some good praise today. Does that up your enthusiasm for the pick? Hugely excited about the rookies we got. You should be excited about the rookies you got. The team is doing well. And yes, he did get some props from Andy today. And to hear that right away, yes, that's a great sign. It's also to be expected. For a first round pick, if you didn't hear something positive the first week, that'd be a problem. It doesn't change my evaluation of him, but it does make me feel better about the fact that Spags is just going to stay Spags and just let him be a power guy. If they can maximize what he is as a power rusher, he can crush tackles. It's about how he then adapts. I'm happy. I love him against the run. He's a good run defender. So that's a third of the game. He's a good power rusher. That's a third of the game. And then there's, the speed edge kind of thing, so that if you can't go through a tackle, you can go around him. And that's the part that he doesn't have. He's also a really young player. And I don't mean just in terms of age, just in the volume of snaps that he's had in his career, like his football life to this point. So he's not going to grow the ability to flex his ankles more or have that bend around his torso. But he may learn to be able to change his pad level in particular. You see Von Miller do that a lot, where he's not necessarily bending around a tackle, but he's going high and then getting underneath a punch, that kind of thing. I think Karlaftis can do that. It's going to take some training, but I think he can do that. And I think I like his hands enough that, especially if he were to get with Tamba or Master Kim again, or somebody to work specifically on his hand fighting, I think he can take that to the next level and be elite at that. So if you put the power and the elite and the great run defense together, he's the edge that can lock down that side. It's just about getting to the quarterback. And if you can go through him consistently, especially through the outside shoulder, because I do think they're going to have to give him a little cheat to get him off the ball. I think they're going to have to play him a little bit wider than maybe they want to initially. And we'll see what that does, because once teams see that, they should attack it right away as well. So we'll see how it goes. But I have plenty of enthusiasm for what he can do. I just didn't have him as a first-round talent because of that portion. That's all. And I know you guys have been down on Dan for his reaction as well. It's because it's more of the same. It's not necessarily Karlaftis. It's more of the same. It's the power rusher thing. And it hasn't been working for Spags for the last few years. And so that's the frustration there, is like, you had an opportunity to go away from that, and you chose not to. And that's really what it is. It is a comfort level for coaches, though. They want to do what they do. So I have plenty of enthusiasm for Karlaftis and what he can do. I'm very keen to see specifically what he does in that first preseason game, because that should be fire. If he gets off on a good start, we're in for a roller coaster season with him. It's going to be great. Avery, thank you for being here and welcome back. Need your bold prediction. Ooh, bold. Who will be the surprise player from last year's 53 that is currently on the team that will not make this year's 53? I hate to say it, and excuse me, please, because I'm rooting for this player, but he's got an uphill battle. And I think that guy could be DeAndre Baker. He's got to pull that out. If he can fire up and raise his game a level, he can stay. But with everything they've brought in, he's in a battle for his spot on the roster, for sure. Thanks, Avery. Last cheese ball. Bolton, Gay, Chanel, Carter. Do we keep a fifth linebacker? Absolutely. They may keep 6, and I believe it will be Mike Rose. That is my personal thought, because what he did on film, he's not the greatest tester. He's okay. He's good laterally. And, in fact, including Chanel and Bolton, he has the best 20 shuttle, which is the lateral agility within the box. And for inside linebackers specifically, that is the best telltale test of any preseason testing that can give you how they will perform against the run. So that is a good thing. And I know that Mike can turn and cover. He makes plays in the pass game. Not Pac-10, sorry. Big 12 defensive player of the year, 5 interceptions as a linebacker. He's got the knack for it, and I think he makes this roster, and I think he's a guy that would come in pass situations if Willie or Bolton can't play, or you need to change it up, or they get tired and you want a platoon, much like you saw with Ben Neiman. I don't think he'll get in near as much time as Ben Neiman, but I could see him getting into that backup role. Zach, how will the 2022 defense compare to the 2013 Chiefs defense? I don't recall the stats on the 2013 team, but if I remember, that was the year they started so hot, 9 in a row, and then fell apart a little bit. That was the Marcus Cooper debacle, if I remember correctly. You guys tell me. I'm guessing it's going to be a smoother ride than that. And I also think they're going to have a few bumps. It's going to be chess. I think preseason's going to go fine. They're going to get their wins. They're going to put up their points. Depending on the schedule, I think they'll have a pretty good September. October's going to get a little interesting when they play some higher caliber teams, and those teams have film on the rookies. They will attack the rookies. So it's about that transition. After you've got your legs underneath you, I expect Chanel to start, Cook to start, McDuffie to start, and Karlaftis to start on defense. All of them. Those 4 guys. After you play your first 12 quarters, 3 games, are you getting better? Are you able to adapt when they come to attack you? That's going to be the key to everything, in my opinion. Let's see. Answered some Bradbury stuff. I'm just stacking some more questions, y'all. Excuse me. Man, this cold is catching up with me. This is what I get for going to Texas and then coming home to cold Colorado. It was quite a change. And then there is one of those. I got that on the list. Okay, back into the list. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Jake, from before. Sam, with all the CBs were brought in, do you think that we should try for Bradbury? Like I said, I don't think they will. If they do, it would surprise me a little bit, but it would really mean that they are sold into trying to up everything they can in terms of recognition. Because that's the one problem with rookies. They can have all the potential in the world, but they can't recognize at the pro level right away. It takes a little bit of time, even for the good ones. So I'm a little concerned. I don't think they're going to go for it. Do you think that behind a competent O-line, do you think Pacheco could be our offensive rookie of the year? No. I don't think he'll have the opportunity. With CEH and Rojo there, he's not going to have enough carries to do that. I think his best bet is being a special teams player of the year. I think he's going to get a good shot at some of the kick returns and punt returns. But I think 2 guys would have to get hurt for him to get serious carries as a rookie. Maybe I'm wrong. I haven't even seen him yet. So when we get to camp, I'll have a better idea, but that's just my gut instinct right now. You spent money on Rojo, and you obviously have the investment in CEH. I don't think they're going to change that much. Christo, where would Bradbury, McDuffie, Fenton, and Snead rank among the NFL? Fenton, I don't know. Let's start this way. Snead's a top 32 player. He's a CB1. Fenton is a CB2/3. He's on the lower end of the CB2 scale, as is Bradbury. They're about the same. McDuffie, I think, can be a CB1. We're right on the edge of it. He can be as good as Travaris Ward, if not a little bit better. Does that make him a CB1? Maybe not. There's 32 CB1s and there's 32 CB2s. So if you're a top 64 in the league, you're doing just fine. What do you think of Bradbury? Like I said, I like him better in zone. And I'd like him to just play more consistently. That's my problem, is he makes some bonehead mistakes. He makes some nice plays, but he also makes some mistakes. What do you think of Ross practice so far? From what I've seen, and it's only been some clips, I haven't personally seen practice. I'm encouraged because it doesn't look like there's any breaks on him. There's nothing he can't do in terms of running the route. I was very encouraged. I did see a clip from somebody who was there with that hit that he went to the ground when you're not supposed to be hitting in these practices, and he popped right up. So, like, if this misconception that he's frail for some reason just keeps on going, it's because of his build. I don't think he's frail. He's had serious injuries, not like the knick-knack things. And he hasn't had soft tissue injuries. So I'm not really concerned about that. So I feel good about where he's at to this point. Miss Holly, thank you for your support. They brought in a kicker, punter, and long snapper rookie minicamp. Should I worry? Stevie already provided his feedback. Well, I'm pretty certain that Stevie probably told you, no, there's nothing to worry about. You got to have guys that can do that at rookie minicamp, and the starters ain't going to do it. So, no, I don't think there's anything to worry about at all. Your guy will be your guy for a long, long while. Thank you, Miss Holly. Appreciate it. Teddy, also, how likely would it be that Kennard gets a shot at right tackle? He has a shot right now. I will tell you that from the get-go. The Chiefs have gone out of their way to tell the media that he has right tackle potential, and they're not putting him at guard to begin with. Now, does he slide there? Possibly, but I think that's more out of need than it is anything else. If anything happens to one of the starting guards, I would put him in there without hesitation. But he believes he's a tackle. The Chiefs believe he's a tackle. Duke Manningweather believes he's a tackle and has been working actively with him in the pre-draft process to make him a better tackle. Dropping weight, making his feet quicker, working on his punch, the things that on film had him as a low third-round grade for me. Now, obviously, the teams were less enthusiastic than I was. I still think that they got a steal, but there were things that he needed to work on, and he's been doing that. He's been active about trying to improve himself, and he's pissed, and I love that. So there's nothing better than a rookie that has something to prove coming into your program who actually has capabilities. That's the thing. You can be pissed off and be a bad athlete just like I was, and you still can't get anywhere. But if you're a good athlete and you just need to fix some things, it's a really good position for the Chiefs. Voodoo, biggest hole left on the roster, DT2, tackle or tight end depth, defensive end depth, linebacker depth, or wide receiver 5-6. I am not concerned about wide receivers at all. Not at all. Whoever wins, wins, and I am happy as a clam. Your top four are set. It is McColl and Juju and MVS and Sky Moore, period. There are no question marks there. The only thing that changes is if somebody gets hurt in camp. The question is 5-6. And you have Fountain, you have Gordon, you have Ross, and you have like 16 other guys that if they make a big enough push and they earn it, more power to them. But I am comfortable there. Defensive end depth, I'm not so comfortable with. I'm happy with Mike Dana. I know he can do the job on first and second down. He doesn't bring a lot on third down. And I have absolutely no idea what Josh Kano is going to bring. So I'm really interested to see Herring. I think there's a question in here that I've already racked up for it. We'll get to that in a minute. But there's questions there. Tight end depth, I'm not concerned with. Jody looks to be just fine. And Andy said they expect him back for camp. So if Jody's ready for camp, all is well. Because Jody should be the tight end too, no matter what. And then you have Gray. And so I'm not really concerned about it. I like Bushman too. He's not a speedy guy, but he's really sure-handed. He can block, and I think he might be the next version of Blake Bell that's a little stronger and not as quick. So he might make the roster too. You never know. And then DT2, it's not really much of a question. It's Derek Nottie. He's your starter. Done deal, just like it's been for the last 3 years. The question becomes is when it becomes third down, what do you do? And is it Colin Saunders? Is it Turk? Is it Karlaftis moving inside and Melvin coming up on the outside? Because that's what it looks like right now. And I'm okay with that. Because you drafted Karlaftis as an edge doesn't mean he has to play the edge all the time for me. Because I actually really like him inside. I even put in my evaluation that I like him as a 3-4 end as well. Because he has all the power and he can rip inside. He can penetrate gaps when he has to. And if the Chiefs decide to move to a 3-4 front in a year or two or whatever happens, that's an easy transition for him. His game plugs in, and I'm really happy with that. So there are a number of options there. The biggest hole may be linebacker 6 if you need it. Maybe linebacker 4 because Carter, he's a special teams player. That's all he is. I know he played a lot for Carolina. That doesn't mean anything for me. Carolina is not an example of how I want to run a team. So there are still questions there. Jesse, if you were forced today, what is your final wide receiver and tight end lineup? Today, for me, it is. Let me make sure I'm not forgetting anybody. 1 second. Let me pull up the depth chart, and I will tell you for certain. Because, as I said, the top 4 are already set. Not a problem. It's who is the 4-5. And right now, I would lean Fountain and Ross because I'm not sure what Josh Gordon really has. Now, they brought him back for a reason. It's a good reason, I'm sure, but I haven't seen it yet. So it could easily be Gordon is 5 and the other guys are battling it out for 6. So he plays special teams. I don't think Ross has. And if Ross ends up on the practice squad for a year, I have no problem with that either. That's a very good situation for the Chiefs to be in. Wait, their depth chart is still blank, so that doesn't help me at all. Let me look at our lads real quick. And so I don't think Justin Watson, Omar Bayless, or Cornell Powell beats out Ross if he's healthy. I don't think Corey Coleman has much to offer. I don't think Sexton does. And I think that's all they have right now. I could be wrong, but that's the list that I have. So, like I said, right now I'm leaning towards Ross, Fountain, and Gordon fighting for those last two. For tight ends, it's Kels, Fortson, Gray, Bushman. That's what I would go with. Thank you, Jesse. James, how far do you think Ross can move up in the depth chart? I don't think he's going to surpass 5. If he makes 5 and he's super healthy, then good for him. He'll get enough reps to make his mark, and maybe next year that changes, is my thought. Liz, you sent a link out. Okay, I'm not sure what that is, but I'll try to go back and look here in a minute. This is harder to do when Dan's not here, to be looking in the chat and answering one. Trade value for CEH. Not much, Bosquat. Not much. If somebody wanted a back, there's 1,000 of them after the draft. People drafted running backs this year, so I don't think there's much of a surge for him. I don't know. I don't think you're getting away from CEH. He will play out his first contract. As best as I can understand, he will play out his first contract, and then a decision will be made. My guess is it's a first contract only, and that you continue to restock the running back position with fresh bodies every year, so you always have guys on hand. That's for attrition as well as contracts. You know what I mean? I think that's just the way that it rolls now. Jake, thank you. Appreciate your support, sir. Have you heard anything about Joshua Williams during rookie camp? I heard him say that he feels that he made a lot of progress. That's good for him. It's not the greatest sign for his ability to be on this roster as a rookie. If rookie minicamp, you're making progress, that means that you were woefully underprepared for what they're asking you to do. Now, he's a super smart kid. You could tell that every time that he interviews on anything. So I will not put it past him to make a surge and get on the roster. I certainly am pulling for him. I hope so. He's in the same round that Snead was. He could easily be a surprise. He's got the athleticism. He's got instincts. I'm pulling for him. If it proves to be too big a leap, they'll easily put him on the practice squad and bring him up when they can next year. And I'm comfortable with that too. It's still a good selection. Jalen Watson is the other corner they took in the 7th that I think is in a deeper hole. I think Williams is going to outplay him in camp is the way it feels to me. But I like Jalen too. And so if somebody gets hurt or somebody goes down, like that's an option as well. Thanks, Jake. Ryan, rank your favorite draft picks 1 to 10. Oh, like just my favorites, like overall for every team? Man, this is going to suck because a lot of them went to Baltimore. Getting Hamilton, and they got Davis and Dean, right? No, I can't even remember. Hang on a second. Now I got to look it up. I like the Hamilton pick. I thought that was a really good fit. No, Davis went to Green Bay, right? I like that fit a lot. I think the Bills got scarier by putting Khalil Shakir underneath Diggs. That's going to be hurtful. The Chiefs are going to – the nickel's going to be more important this year because that's how teams are going to try to attack them more. They've seen them put effort into the outside corners. They're going to attack the nickel, especially if Legarius plays outside all the time because it'll be a new nickel. They're going to attack that all the time. I love that Bailey Zappi got picked exactly where I thought he would as the number 5 QB. So I'm really happy about that. Let's see. I thought the Quay Walker pick was early, but I like it. So that's pretty solid. Who else? Who stood out? And I'm trying not to just be like, first round guys, whatever. I do like, and I had mocked it before, the Drake London pick to Atlanta. I really like that. I just feel like pairing him and Pitts is going to be dangerous for them, and that's a good thing for them. Not so happy about trying to defend it, I'll tell you that. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick and give you a couple ideas. By the way, I will just say this too. Like everything that I've heard, the Colts have an absolutely pissed off Matt Ryan on their hands, and I think that's going to do well for them. Matt Ryan's been kind of like this. He hasn't like hit the curve off the end of his career, and now he's mad, and I think that's great because that's what they need. Is he needs to be ultra Matt Ryan. So let's see. Let's go back here, and I'm taking another look. Got his pick. Then it was Kyle, and then the Ravens came back with somebody else, and that's why I'm trying to look this up just so I can tell you. You always ask me long questions, Ian. It takes me a while. Oh, they came back and got a Jabo, like a hurt guy that they're going to get next year, and he's going to be fabulous. They got Travis Jones, and they got Faalele, who is an exact clone on the right-hand side of Orlando Brown. So they did all – the Ravens, and they did great. And cheers to the Jets. They did really well as well. EJ, same school, and he'll be fine with him as part of your team. Awesome, Julian. I'm glad to hear it. EJ's a cool dude. He's pretty mellow. We'll get him a little more excited. Don't worry. But he's going to be doing a lot of work with us as we work through the draft and team building around the league, and we expand that part of our influence. I'm hopefully going to be working in some other capacities within the league as well. Got a couple of ideas going that could pan out. I'll let you guys know. So there's a lot going on around here with the RGR, RAC, NFL 33 business. So who's the most impressive in camp so far? From what I've heard, the guy that stood out the most is McDuffie, in that he slid in there, he learned the playbook, and he hasn't been making a lot of mistakes. And that's all you can ask at a rookie camp. So they got what they paid for, in my opinion, so far. I think he's going to be great. I think he will end up being a better day-to-day corner than Marcus Peters was. He won't be as explosive, and he won't give you the turnovers that Marcus did, but he will be a better down after down after down coverage guy. And I do think he can play man, and I think he can play nickel, and I think he can play a little robber safety. He has the eyes to do it, and I'm really high on him. John, was Malik Herring there this week? He was, and he is moving around. I am in the process of trying to confirm. I'll get with Matt tomorrow to confirm. I don't think he has any limitations. So I'm pretty excited to see what he has to bring. He's wearing 94, as I understand it, and he looks like he's moving around pretty well. Ian, how athletic is Ross? Is he decently fast or kind of slow? I know he had a bad combine. He did have a bad combine and a worse pro day. He ran, I think, 4.67 or 4.7 flat, something like that. On film, he looks like a 4.5, 4.55 guy. He had a foot injury, so I'm guessing that was the bulk of it. So I'm not too concerned. But it's not so much speed with him. He deals with contact in his route incredibly. He tracks the ball really well. He's got a huge wingspan, and he understands how to manipulate corners. So even if he is on the slower side, I think he's going to be fine. And it's all about the health with him as far as I'm concerned. James, do you think that Pacheco could threaten CH for a starting job? No. That's not going to be his thing. I think he's going to be like Gore was last year, and he's going to get a couple of chances. He's going to really impress us, and then Andy's going to go right back to CEH and Rojo. Gary, will the linebackers be better this year with a few new? I think they will, but they're also going to give up a few big plays. You're talking about having Willie, who missed part of his rookie season, is a third year. Nick's a sophomore, and Chanel's a rookie. There's going to be some mistakes to give up some bigger plays, but they're going to make a ton of plays too. So overall, I think it'll be better, but I think they will have a couple of low spots that you're going to be like, you know what I mean? Lee, what do you think of Malik Herring? I haven't been able to see him yet. Until I see him, I won't have a solid opinion, but I'm optimistic. I liked his college film. I was really happy when they brought him in. Obviously, the injury kept him from being anything that was highly vaunted or anything. But I think he has the makings of a guy that can make some noise in the league because he has the ability to change his game. He can play power. He can play speed. I really like what he brings, and he doesn't have to do it the same way every day. It's not like he starts from the same spot and goes and then adjusts. Like, he could show up one day and all he's doing is bull rushing. He could show up the next day and he's running around the edge. Like, that's what I saw on film. He was like the precursor of how good this Georgia front is now. He was the guy kind of leading the race for them all to try to catch up, and they did. But I think that says a lot about him as well. So I'm pretty high on him. I'm really interested to see where he's at physically. Let's see. Trying to get everything starred here. The stars are what let me track all the questions I have to answer. So that's it. Figuring out 5, 6, 7 for the receivers is going to be tough later on. What wide receiver position is heating up? Yes, it is. And congratulations to Garrett Dieter. I hear he's going to sign somewhere else, and I think we're all glad that he can still continue his career and not be in Kansas City. Do you have any info? I'm not sure what that is, and I'm not going to answer that. Let's see. Compare and contrast Niang and Kennard. What's their styles, and who are they ideally like to see as the starting right tackle? They are polar opposites. Niang is a 2-point stance, kick step, like classic, not even West Coast, like air raid tackle. He stands up, doesn't give you much in the run game. His vertical sets are better, but he was a 45 guy. Kennard is a 45 guy, if not a horizontal set guy, so he jumps out. His vertical needs some work, whereas Niang has that down. Kennard's great in the run game. He's a monster. He has a tendency to lean and get out front over his toes. So he needs better balance, which is something that Niang actually really has for a guy who's got kind of a gut in front of him too that kind of pulls him down, and the long arms. That's really the difference is right now Kennard is power and needs to refine his technique, whereas Niang is a refined tackle but doesn't have much power. So I do think I don't think Niang's going to be ready until late in the fall, if any. So I think it's about Kennard versus Wiley, and I think Kennard will win right now. What's the possibility of all the draft picks making the 53 roster? 0. I guarantee you that. They will cut one of their draft picks. What is Karlaftis' ceiling as a pass rusher on sacks to produce year by year, over and under? Ceiling? I mean, he could get to a double-digit guy, like over under 9.5. You could take the over. That's right at the ceiling for me, though. I think more likely it's more like a 6, 7 guy is more than likely. But ceiling, I would say he could get to double digits. It just depends on how he evolves his game from here. There's nothing wrong with his game now. It's just not complete. And if he can do something to make it more varied, he will have more success in the league. That's just what it will come down to. Let's see. Okay, I'm racking up some more questions, you guys. Hang with me, and we'll try to get to all of them. Here, I know we're winding down at, oh, man. Yeah, we've gone along already. Let's see. Okay, got Julian's. Daryl, can we trade CEH for Brian Gooch? I'm not willing to give up Gooch, so no. What position battle is the one you're looking forward to in camp? D tackle. Somebody's got to take it by the reins. I want to see somebody become the designated pass rusher next to Chris Jones. That's what I want. I don't want to have to trade for it. I want somebody to step up. Toddy, hope you're doing well. What position should you boys enhance on that is really important? They could use more dynamic linebacker depth. Wide receivers are pretty good. They have a slew of DBs. Although the safety position itself, like Cook's going to be number 3 right away. He's like, and if in the dime, he'll be a starter. I guarantee it. Beyond him, it gets a little iffy. Zane Anderson, Devin Key. I think Boodle could go back and play safety as well. That's just my thought. So yeah, you could use maybe a safety, but you got plenty of DBs and D tackle. I mean, if you really need to enhance something, it's probably pass rush from the interior next to Chris Jones. Dre, have you seen the few tweets of Malik Herring showing out some in camp? He could play a big part of the pass rush. He absolutely could. And I would love to see it. I am pulling for him, and I know it's tough when you get hurt as a rookie, so I really hope he can pull that around. What's an Ingram deal actually going to look like? He's already on the books because of this tag. He is already on the Chiefs cap. That's why they fell from 18.6 to 14.2. So right now he counts as 14.2. 14.4? Yeah, 14 as 4.4. Now, if another team comes and offers him a bigger contract, the Chiefs can match it. So it could go up. But right now, he's already on their books because of that tag. So that's good. They're in the driver's seat in terms of if he gets another offer. I think he just doesn't want to go to camp, and they're okay with that. So they did the tag, so he doesn't go anywhere else. I think he will be here. I think it'll probably be at 4.4. If not, it might go up to 6-ish. I don't think that's a problem. Ian, how likely is the Ross see snaps early in the season, even if he looks good in camp? A lot of guys they have to set up. Yeah, I mean, there absolutely is. Early in the season might be a good spot for him, to tell you the truth. Get him some reps and see what happens. But they have chemistry to work on, so that might be a long shot. It all depends on camp performance. If he's all good and he's in camp, I don't know. He might take snaps from somebody. Do we go after Bradbury? I don't think they're going to, Pono. How many secondary players will we keep? Terry, it's hard for me to see them going over 10. They almost always keep 10. I don't think Andy has ever kept 11 yet since he's been in Kansas City. I think they kept 9 one year, but I'll bet it'll be 10. And I think it's going to be split this year. Right now, I'm leaning it's going to be 6 corners and 4 safeties. That's how it feels to me. But I will tell you this. It looks like they're going to keep the expanded practice squad numbers. So they have 16 on the practice squad, not 8. And so I think there'll be a lot of secondary players there too. James, have you heard anything about Justin Ross? Just bits and pieces from some of the media that are there. So I'm optimistic. But they haven't gone through contact or anything. Like they're just trying to learn the playbook. We'll know more in the next couple of weeks, and then the big thing will be camp. If he gets to camp and he's not getting reps, and especially if anything happens and he's not on the practice field, then we can start worrying. And same thing, Andrew, on what I said earlier about hearing, like he's out there moving around. Seems positive, but need to see more. Do we see Gray take the next step in year 2 and become TE2? Right now, Quentin, I'm betting against it because it sounds like Jody Fortson's healing up really nicely. And I think Jody's going to be the TE2. Nothing against Noah, but I'm happy with that because Jody's earned it. So I want to see him do it. And, man, he came on last year. So I think Noah will be 3, and I think they might use him 3 tight end sets this year. I think they're going to play double tight end more. I think they need to get Rojo involved. They need to run the ball more, and I think they understand that. Latin Assassin, what do you think of Turk Wharton took a shot at DE? I think it's fine. I think you got to worry about the consistency down to down. Because when he's just going to pass rush, he's all good. And the run's a little bit more difficult for him, but it won't be on the edge. But it takes more discipline to be in the right position and hold the edge. So it certainly is worth a look. I just don't know if it'll happen or not. Scott, best guess the probability of a timeline for Frank's suspension. I think the court date is in October, so I don't think he'll get suspended until then. But you could lose him for the second half of the season. So makes Karlaftis even more important. Does bigger catch radius of new receivers make a difference? It certainly does, because they're bigger receivers, they're not going to have as much separation that Patrick usually likes. So the bigger catch radius means he can put it back shoulder and out a little bit more, and they can go get it and still stay in bounds. So that's just one example. But, yeah, it definitely makes a difference. What's your thoughts on the current CB group? I think it's better than it was last year as a whole. But I think they have to figure out who's really going to be the 3. I think it should be Fenton, but Fenton didn't play as good last year as he did in 20. So I'm a little concerned about that. I love the pairing of McDuffie and Snead, though. I'm super pumped for that. Jeremy, whose job does Cook take? Because he's a starter. He is. He's basically filling what the slot that Dan Sorensen had. He's not really taking anybody's job. The question is there going to be a 4th? Who's going to win that battle? It may be Zane Anderson. It may be Devin Key. It may be somebody we don't even have on the roster yet. I have no idea. Whiskey Bravo, welcome to the memberships. Make sure you hit me at that email address. It is up here. Let me put that up so that you can get in the Discord. The Discord is what matters around here, folks, because that's where you get to go off. Because this medium is great for me talking to you. It's not very good for you talking to me. So it's just the way that YouTube functions. Got a couple more super chats. We're going to add those. Any other questions I'm looking at? Julian's got a good one. And I'm just looking for more question marks, y'all, so I don't miss you. Okay, cool. So let me take the banner off and go back to the comment list. So we'll get to Robbie. I answered Robbie's. I answered Jeremy's. And so it's Chris. Thank you, Chris, for the super chat. Appreciate you. Veach said Hardman contract talks could be a year. Yeah. He's in a contract year. In my opinion, I don't think he's earned a second contract with the Chiefs right now. They want to see what he does this year. And so I don't think they're going to discuss it. I think what they're going to do is they're going to try to sign Orlando before camp and get it done. So they have the freedom to do it should they get what they want from McColl. That's my thought. Do you see any UDFA making the 53-man roster? Absolutely. I think right now Mike Rose makes it, and I think Justin Ross makes it. I'm betting that Justin Ross stays healthy, and it is a bet. It's just my thought. I freely admit that. But yes, I do think that both those guys make the roster. Jeremy, Ryan, thoughts on the wide receiver starting to become a saturated like running back? Is it easier to draft and develop than to sign them? It absolutely is. And from what I understand, the trade of Tyreek Hill was mutually beneficial and was on good terms. He wanted to go to Miami. He's from Florida. His family's down there. The Chiefs didn't want it really to happen. They were trying to pay him, but they just couldn't get it done. And so the next best thing is he let them relaunch their wide receiver core now. And they got good players to play roles. No one's going to beat Tyreek. We know that. But in the meantime, they got a lot cheaper. And they're able to do more things next season and the season after that. And that was 3 years of $20 million plus that Tyreek was going to tie up. And by breaking amicably now, they have the ability right now, while Patrick's 2 years younger, to get him new guys to bring along and that kind of stuff. That's really going to help. So at the end of the day, I think that's the key. And I'm glad to see that it wasn't animosity. It was just Tyreek needing to get on with his life, and this happens sometimes when guys have rings and they're not chasing that anymore. And then it becomes about their quality of life and how they finish their career. Tyreek's 28 years old. I think a lot of folks started to forget that. Thanks, Jeremy. Dwayne, could Karlaftis be a second coming of Allen? No. I mean, they don't play anything alike. Allen could bend and go around the edge and could do everything. Could he be as good as him in terms of production and pressures and sacks? Yeah, sure. Allen, you got to remember, Allen was good here. He didn't get really good until Minnesota, though. That's when he had the highlights of his career in terms of season stats. But yes, Karlaftis can produce like he did here, and I'm fairly confident with that. Daryl, thank you for the support. Appreciate you, bud. Royce, hope you're doing well. How do you feel about our team compared to last year's? I'm a little more optimistic with their ability to deal with what they're going to get. Specifically, Patrick and Andy dealing with all the coverages that they're going to see. Last year was a struggle, like I thought it might be, and like I told everybody about, because it's just a different paradigm with him not having the openness to attack. So I think Patrick struggled with it at times. Now they have more guys that they have to spread the ball to. That's what this wide receiver core has become. And so now he has more ability that if something pops, he can take it, but then he has more options underneath. And I think that completes more passes, moves the chains more often, gives him more strikes at throwing more passes. And I think that will, in the end, improve for him. I think he throws more touchdowns this year than he did last. I'll tell you that. Belisarius, the new addition I'm most excited about is Ross. Should I slow my roll? Not necessarily. He looks good. Be happy. But just remember, it's a thin line that he's running right now between injury, rust, and having a role. So I wouldn't put all the eggs in the basket. What about Crum, the QB? I haven't heard anyone talk about him yet. I'm high on him. I like his game. I think it's perfect for him to be a UDFA. We'll see if he can do something and kick out Buechele or Gordon. See what happens. That's all I know. Do you see any Allen and Karlaftis? I mean, I see his power. I don't see the bend that Allen had, and I don't see. They are both very consistent, and everyone throws around the word relentless. It's a good word. They both had that. Like, he's not going to quit on plays. That kid's got a motor, and Allen had that too. So I do see that. When will they announce the dates for training camp in St. Joe? It'll come out here after the end of OTAs, so it'll be mid-June. I think they'll announce it. Might be a little bit earlier than that. Robert, Clyde has to prove it this year. Was Clark's big brother in camp? He was invited to the rookie camp. I have not seen anything about him being signed, and I haven't heard anyone say anything about him making the team for OTAs. So I don't think that that's going forward. If we do hear that, I'll definitely let you guys know. And like I said, I'm going to do some bits and pieces on a lot of the rookies this week. So I'll have some shorter videos, but I'll have a bunch of them for you. And then I'll have film on Wednesday and stuff. Bear with me. I'm doing everything solo this week, so it's going to be a crunch. And Gold Towel, you were absolutely right. Ross isn't 100% yet, so we do have to remember that. That's important. Let me get to the questions list. We're going to wrap up the last few. Oh, I got yours, Chris. What does Hardman in yards, receptions, and TDs have to be for the Chiefs to keep him? For them to keep him, he needs to put up 8 touchdowns and 1,000 yards. I mean, in terms of bringing him back, he's got to step forward and be the guy. He's got the edge on the offense on everybody else. He's got to do it. Avery, any chance Rojo ends up being like Le'Veon was for us? Having seen what I've seen of IP, I think he will be a force, and he has handsome offensive touches too. There's always a possibility, Avery. From what I hear about Rojo, he's in the best shape of his career, as people say. That could all be BS, but that's what I'm hearing. And he's got his livelihood to play for. So I have a tendency to think he's going to be okay, but you never know. He could be a bombshell just like Lev was. We'll just have to see it. I like Pacheco too. I just think he's going to be stuck, and it's going to take a year or two for him to grow into it. But I do agree with you. He will get some touches, and I think he'll make the most of them. Daryl, should we save Ross back this year? Like keep him on the practice squad? I don't think so. I mean, if they feel they need to, I'm fine with it, but it doesn't appear that they feel that his body needs, that kind of complete and total rest. If it comes to that, I'm certain they'll probably go for that. Thank you. Appreciate you, Daryl. Alan, who is your Trey Smith game 1 starter this season? So the guy that is a low draft pick, is that what you mean? It's Kennard next to him. Could end up being the steal of the draft easily. Ross could be the steal of UDFA free agency. Daryl, thank you again. Whiskey Bravo, thank you. Thanks for all the work. Always great to listen to you and Dan Chat Chiefs. Cheers. Thank you for being in, and thanks for supporting us. We appreciate it very much. Julian, over under 800 yards and 7 touchdowns for Sky Moore, and over under 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns for Juju. That's a lot for a rookie. I'm going to take the under on both. I'll tell you that. I don't think Juju hits 1,000 yards. I think McColl's going to have 800, and I think MVS is going to probably be 6, 7. I think you might have 4 receivers that hit 800 yards, though. And so, okay, fine. I'll take the over on Sky Moore then. Jeremy, hold on. Have you seen more than me? You like Zane. I do like Zane. I was saying that last camp. I just don't know how much progression he's made. This should be a good year for a second-year safety to make some progression and claim his spot. Clearly, they didn't think a ton of him and Devin because they went out and got Cook. Now, that's also complicated by the fact that they don't seem to have a whole lot of faith in Thornhill, and he also will be on a concluding his rookie contract soon. So you can see that on the wall too. Like, Juan has to have a big season. I'm pulling for Juan. He's my guy. Chris, do you see the defense go in the mid-20s with the drafts? I see it as a possibility. I have seen nothing yet to allow me to make a prediction of that kind of caliber. It could be. It could easily not be as well. rookie seasons are tough. Sometimes they just hit and they're able to go and they make a big impact. And sometimes they struggle. And especially with having so many of them on the field, like we're going to see this year, it could be a little bit more troublesome than we're thinking. But if they can get the mid-20s, they're good. I mean, that's only a 5. They ended up, 30th? It's only a 5 rank growth. So let's hope that they should be able to do that. Clutch, what do you think Orlando Brown contract will look like, and when do you think it will get it done? I'm optimistic they'll get it done in July. Evidently, there's a deadline of the 15th, I believe. And I think it'll be 4 years and 90-ish million is what it's going to be. I don't think they want to go 5. I think that's one of the negotiating points. Dennis, how many wide receivers will they carry in 2022, and who are they? I don't think they're going to go 7. I think they will stick with 6, and it will be Hardman, Juju, MVS, Sky Moore, Fountain, and Ross. That's what I'm thinking right now. Golden Towel, thank you very much. Nobody's talking about Fortune. Yeah, maybe me. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like he can be huge for us. He absolutely can. And as long as he's healthy, I think he's the tight end too. Joseph, is it possible that we see Hardman traded if some of the wide receivers behind him pan out? I don't think so. I don't think you can get any value for Mecole Hardman. Do you think that there are 4 or 5 picks that start or hit the field and develop the others to slide into positions in 2 or 3 years? Absolutely, Peter. And thank you for the question. I'm counting the different, technically a starter, whether they start in dime, nickel, or base. If they're in base, Chanel and Karlaftis and McDuffie are starters, all 3 of them. If they're in nickel, then Karlaftis, McDuffie, and Cook are probably all starting. If they're in dime, it's probably all 3 of them plus possibly Williams. So there's a way that there could be 4 or 5 starters like now, and definitely in a year they will hit. I'm confident they got 5 starters out of this draft right now. I feel really good about it because I'm counting Sky obviously on the other side as well. Chris, do you think that what do you think EB and Nagy will do more now with the offense? I think you're going to see a little bit more timing stuff, rhythm stuff. I think they'll change the RPOs that they're not so blatant. And I really think that they're going to get back to some of the trickery stuff, maybe the pop passes. I think you're going to see Patrick roll a little bit more, probably to the left. But yeah, I think they're going to get quirky with it, and I like that. Would you see another signing to improve the D-line? I could. I just don't know if there's anybody out there that's worth it. That's my big problem right now. I don't see anybody that's screaming at me, go get him. And I know a lot of the fans want Hicks. Like, that's okay. But you're giving up your last chunk of money that you can fit under the cap. So I just don't think the Chiefs are going to want to do that. That's just my thought. Let's see. Sweaty is more ceiling a very solid number 2. I think it's a little higher than that. Like full on high end 2, or 1B, whatever you want to call it. I don't think he can be Tyreek, but I do think he can be Macklin. That's what it seems like to me. Jeremy Thornhill is from over here in Virginia. Yep. Watched him play at Evans Brothers. Some good high school ball. Yeah. And I'm really pulling it for him. I don't know what the hiccup was last season. I hope that there isn't one now. I hope they slot him in and just leave him at safety and let him go. I think he, Cook, and Reed could be really dynamic in how they rotate and who's playing the robber and who's playing the split high. I think Reed or Thornhill can play the single high. So I think they have a lot of options, and I really like that. Mac, thank you. How concerned are you about the wide receiver by committee won't be nearly as effective as Hill on average? I'm actually not concerned about it because Hill was able to be taken away because he was one person. They could triple. I think with everybody being there, Patrick's always going to have, in my opinion, I think he'll always have somebody open because one of those guys is going to get open because they're all good enough. So I think the pass game will come in. I think it will be a shorter pass game on average, but I think it will be more completions, and I think he'll throw more touchdowns, to tell you the truth. Last question of the night. I think we cleaned that up. Unless there's any more super chats, I'm going to check them right now. Don't throw any more super chats, you guys. Just trying to fake me out. I get you. Oh, there's one more question. Two more questions. Okay, cool. It's kind of sad to think that only mid-20s for all of us invested in this defense. That's a fair point, but that's just this year. Those guys will grow, and I think they will get better. They need more edge rush. Karlaftis is fine. Frank's gone after this season, no matter what. So Karlaftis is just one. You need three at the very least. So they have more work to do. I like Clowney and getting very tired of Orlando Brown's act. His act? I didn't think he'd been doing much. He doesn't have an agent right now. He fired the guy, and that's why there hasn't been any contract talks. I would consider Tooney at left tackle, trade Brown and save $20 million. I think Tooney can get by. I don't think he's a left tackle a year long, and you're in good shape. I think that would be a bad move. Caden, you think Kennard will be able to deal with the edge rushers in our division? I think he'll have some struggles. He's got to get his feet quicker. He's got to get out of his stance quicker, and he's got to solve his balance issues. But he's got a lot of length, and he understands pass rushers. He held up really well in the SEC against the highest quality pass rushers in college. Now, that's not NFL talent. I get that. But a lot of them are going to be. He was the offensive lineman of the year in the SEC. So, he has the clout. I think he's going to earn the chance to show it. And as long as he doesn't, do anything crazy, I think he'll be fine. Let's see. I appreciate this. I know it's not a question really, Raving, but thank you very much. I'm glad. I try to do news, and I try to do a lot of considered real opinion. We try not to do too much. I like to smash rumors rather than, make them up like a lot of sites do here on YouTube, but it's a lot. Thank you, Holly, and thank you to the Morrow family for running our chat and keeping things clean. We appreciate you guys. Thank you, Liz, for standing in, and Aaron, I'm glad you made it. This has been great, and thank you as well. Let's all say that this is a good week, because I think it's going to be. Seth will be back on Thursday night. I have videos for you coming tomorrow, a couple of smaller ones as well throughout the week. So I should do film on Wednesday. I can't guarantee it. I will have something for you. I'm working on one specific player that I'm having trouble getting film for. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. What else is going on? Everybody go check out the new site, the new channel from Aaron and Stevie and Keys. Go sub over at NFL33.com for the non-Chiefs, like the big team building, big NFL stuff. Thanks for being here. Make sure you like, sub, and hit the bell if you're not one of us yet. And for those of you members that signed up tonight, if you signed in at the rookie level or above, hit me at that email address, rgrpodcast@gmail.com. And that'll do it for us tonight. Hope you guys have a great one. I'll be back with you tomorrow, and I'll talk to you then. Night.